You ready? Let's go. 2-minute daily devo for Thursday, June 1st. I'm in the Contemporary English Version today, and our verse of the day comes from the book of Psalms, chapter 23, verses 1 and 2. Here's what it says. You, Lord, are my shepherd. I will never be in need. You let me rest in fields of green grass. You lead me to streams of peaceful water. Psalm 23 is probably one of the most famous portions of Scripture in the entire Bible, that and John 3:16. But you hear Psalm 23 read, and I'm sure you've heard it read many times. I'm sure you know some of it even by heart. But it's a very famous portion of Scripture. And one thing that always jumps out at me whenever I read this psalm is this. At the first sentence, you, Lord, are my shepherd. I will never be in need. I love the word picture that's presented here for us today, because if you know anything about sheep and shepherds, and I don't pretend to be an expert, but I do know this, that the sheep depend on the shepherd for everything. They depend on the shepherd for their protection, first of all. They depend on the shepherd for their food. It says fields of green grass. That they depend on shepherd for their waters, it talks about here. They depend on the shepherd to find a place of shelter. They depend on the shepherd to lead them where they're supposed to go. The sheep are super reliant on the shepherd. Without the shepherd, they're lost. Sheep are defenseless. They're not very bright animals. They will get hurt. They won't find food. They'll get lost. Everything they need comes from the shepherd. They look to the shepherd. They depend on him for their lives. The question I have for us is this. Do we depend on our great shepherd with the same level of dependency? Do we count on him or believe in him for every need? Do we look to him for our shelter? Do we look to him for our provision? Do we look to him for protection? Are we looking and depending on the shepherd like the sheep do here in Psalm 23? Because we need to. There is nobody that we should look to for any of those things other than Jesus, our great shepherd. A lot of times we tend to look to ourselves, or we think that our money is our dependence, or, our strength or our wisdom. No. We need to look to God as the great shepherd for everything. He is the one that we need to count on. We need to have the same dependence on him as the sheep do on the shepherd. So I encourage you today, let's depend on the great shepherd, Jesus. All right, that's it, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.